For those foreigners always talk about China is so great, China is so fantastic, China is high technology, and I'm so free in China. I want to say, you don't know a shit about China, and you don't know shit about freedom. And the privilege that granted to you in China, which is your ancestors fight for 100 years, whatever in Europe or in the US, your ancestors fight for freedom years and years and years, and finally you gain these rights. And now you don't appreciate anything about the great things that your ancestors fight for, that cost life. And it's just the stupid foreigners and doing stupid things in China, and I hate that. Fuck them. For the foreigners who always pandering China and always bragging, China is so great, China is so fantastic, China has the most advanced technologies and everything, but never talk about the issues in China. Those foreigners are the worst foreigners in China. Because why? They don't want China to improve. They don't want to point out the issue, that resolve the issue, that make China much better, to improve itself. They just want to keep their privileges here in China. And the privilege that granted to those foreigners here in China isn't the Chinese government or the Chinese people granted that to you. It's your home country granted this privilege to you. And even the language you speaking is a kind of privilege. And you are just trying to stay in the status of using this privilege to get fame and the money, and you don't really appreciate it for the Chinese as well. Because if someone is taking a privilege over the other majorities and considered themselves as a upper class, then they probably are the nasty people on this planet, and they want inequality. They don't want to be treated as normal as much. Because for a Chinese people like me, I go to abroad, go to Australia, I living in Australia and lived in Sweden. I'm just a normal people over there. Nobody comes to my face and taking picture with me and saying, "Whoa, you are Chinese, you are so great, I love China." And nobody. I love to be treated as a normal people, to be honest. And in the company, all my colleagues are great people, and we work together. They judge you based on your personality, based on your skills, based on your value. But I'm not treated as a special person. I don't need that as well. Then let me talk about the foreigners in China. I'm not talking about those foreigners maybe in the small cities, but in Shanghai. Shanghai is quite international, although there's some kind of restrictions, not totally free here. But if you are a foreigner and you are white, I mean, skin color is still a thing. If you are going to be an English teacher, all those English teachers talk about you have to be white to teach English. If you are ABC, American born Chinese, if you want to teach English, maybe those institutions will not accept you. That's it, which is ridiculous. But if you are those foreigners, you come to China, you got paid way better than the ordinary Chinese, and maybe in Shanghai you can get 25K every month, and you don't as a foreigner, you are a player here, right? You are a passenger. You don't expect to settle down for permanently. I mean, the majority, some of them have a Chinese wife, but I mean, normally you want to do some adventures in your 20s to 30s. So you choose China to experience 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Then you got this pay, and you rent, right? You don't take a mortgage because you don't want to buy a house in China. It's not reasonable. You want to buy it back home in the US. Anyway, so for those foreigners, the life is of course good for them, because they have a relatively big amount of cash in hand. Then you are chased by those brainless Chinese girls, not well educated, gold diggers. They see you are foreigner, maybe to have some kind of relationship with you can make them jump off the China. Not jump off. Sorry, can make them step out of China, right? They expecting you to bring them back home to Canada, to the US, to Europe, whatever, where it is. So give them a permanent resident, and their life is changing. So these are what those girls approaching you. This is the big reason why those Chinese girls are approaching you and try to make a relationship. I'm not denying like real love and these kind of things, but in a majority of the chance, you get those people. And once you say, "Oh no, I don't want to get married with you soon," or I don't want to go back to the US in the next 5 years. They got mad, right? Because their aim is not so close to them. They have to wait for another 5 years. Who knows what will happen, right? So what I mean is, so as a foreigner, especially those Caucasian white people, your nice life and your privilege is granted by your own country. It's not like this is China give these things to you. It is the country that you come from, which is the advanced country. Canada, USA, Germany, Sweden, whatever it is. So your ancestors, maybe their soul is experienced, and you were born in those countries. That's the reason. That's the reason that your rights is granted and your freedom is granted. And do not say, I have a good life in China because China treated me so good. No, it's not. But I don't think a lot of people be aware of that. They think like, yeah, I'm a foreigner. Everyone look at me as a superstar, especially in the small cities. See foreigners take a picture with me, and you don't speak Chinese, and they don't speak English. Then, like the first meet between a girl and a boy, and you all looking each other with curiosity, right? But when the time goes on and on and on, if you stay in China for lifelong, then you find those problems in China. Do you think you will still keep your passionate along with you for lifelong? And if you really want to be a real Chinese, I mean, you can't do something like Michael Jackson, like wash your face from black to white. You can't recolor your skin from Caucasian or white to Asian. But if you do speak Chinese in a good way, and you don't want to participate into those politics propaganda thing, then you just want to be a normal Chinese. I don't think the life will be better than the life you back home. I mean, but you can't. It's impossible to enable it. You are foreigner. Your entire life is foreigner, right? Because you are speaking English, then you can be a teacher. What the Chinese people can do? They don't speak English. They can speak Chinese, but can they teach English? Yes, they can, but they don't get paid very well. If they want to teach Chinese in the U.S., will they get triple paid or 5 times paid by a normal American teacher? I don't think so. And so in China, it's always like unequal. But sometimes it's good thing, sometimes it's bad thing. One more thing, as a foreigner in China, your mother language granted you too much things, because China want to do business with the entire world, and although it is not like downgraded or against it by the US, but to have some foreign investment in China is always the thing that the government want. So, like megacity Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, Shenzhen, they need people to work in the foreign companies and at least to speak English, right? So, compares to the low level labor works like construction worker, restaurant waiter, and even a cleaner on the street, to work with the foreign company is a relatively good thing. Although now you see people that talking about like, China is getting richer and richer. We don't need those foreigners here, blah 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 blah. But global companies, private, small foreign investment companies, design houses, they still need people speaking English. Maybe not in a level to do in-depth conversation, but at least you understand what they are saying. So a lot of people learning English, and that gives those foreigners opportunity to teach English. And China is the Chinese people, sometimes it's like lunatic. One side they are learning English and worship English. Another side they are cursing the US, cursing everything from abroad. All right, guys. Probably I have to wrap up here. It's just casual talking, and because recently I'm lost. I don't know what kind of content can grow the channel, because I tried a lot of videos talking about the news, talking about strange things on the Chinese media, talking about other things, but none of them satisfied me as a creator. Because for that Dubrovnik travel things, I spent 10 days in the Balkans, and get out early in the morning, taking videos a whole day, and do the editing things. It takes a long time to edit those travel videos, but it's just get shit views, and it really costs. It costs flight ticket, costs accommodation, I'm a bit lost because the investment is too high and the consequence is too cruel. So yeah, I'm doing this big head talking things, talking about China. Maybe in the future I will do more talking things about the reality of China, and I won't spend too much time in editing them, because to make a film look like or nice music background, it doesn't give anything back. And yeah, so I will do this kind of big head talking. You don't expect too much like editing skills and transfer things in this kind of video. But anyway, thanks for all the viewers watch my channel, and see you next time.